know that Chief Justice Roberts, John Roberts, has been speaking a little bit about it, and I think and I have a lot of respect for him. I like him and I respect him, but I think we have to use some common sense. This Ninth Circuit, everybody knows it. It's totally out of control.
Totally out of control. That's how the president describes the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals as he fumes after a federal judge blocked his executive order threatening to cut funds to sanctuary cities. The president called that judge an Obama judge. President Trump's criticism has turned into a war of words of sorts with Supreme Court Justice John Roberts, who rebuked the president, saying, quote, "We do not have Obama judges or Trump judges, Bush judges or Clinton judges." President Trump also slammed the Ninth Circuit Court in a tweet, claiming it's overturned more than any circuit in the country. Kimberly Atkins and Allan Smith are back with me now. Joining the panel is federal white-collar criminal defense attorney Vinu Varghese. Allan, over the last 5 years, the Ninth Circuit does not have the highest rate of overturned decisions. Is there any truth to what these claims are, what the president's claiming?
Well, this is just sort of the president's more visceral reaction to seeing a lot of these cases filed against him in the Ninth Circuit. This is by no means a new practice. It is a court that skews a little bit more liberal than some of the other circuit courts in the country, just as there are circuit courts that skew more conservative. But the president's backlash against decisions coming out of the Ninth Circuit, which are nothing new, he's trying to sow doubt about the legitimacy of those decisions. And it's interesting to see in John Roberts' response, he says there's no such thing as Trump judges. Well, let's wait and see for one of these cases that come before the Supreme Court related to any number of policies the Trump administration has been working on. And let's say a Judge Kavanaugh or a Judge Gorsuch does not rule in favor of the Trump administration. One can really only imagine how the president would react in such a circumstance, with his mindset being, look, I appointed these people to the court thinking that they were going to be ruling in favor of Republicans and ruling in favor of some of my decisions.
Vinu, some perspective here. What is important to put in context regarding that overturn rate the president's citing?
Well, I think the bigger issue here is looking at Judge Roberts' comment, his rebuke to him, right? So Justice Roberts is saying there's no Obama judges, no Bush judges, no Clinton judges. But 5 of the 9 Supreme Court justices are now members or were members of the Federalist Society. Mm-hmm. They had their annual gala last week. 4 of them, except Justice Roberts, were there and were being honored. So what Justice Roberts is trying to do is saying, look, we're independent. But the question is that actually true? Because many of these people, including when Neil Gorsuch was honored at the dinner, he said, thank you, and without you, I wouldn't be here. So Roberts is different because twice he voted to preserve Obamacare, and he's now, gotten the ire of many conservatives. So it really, Trump is raising an interesting question. There are Obama judges, there are Trump judges, there are people with their different ideologies. And so as he just said, we'll see what happens when they go before the Supreme Court.
And Kimberly, I want you to weigh in on this same point, too. When the Chief Justice says there are no Obama judges, no Trump judges, is he wading into a political argument with the president?
He is. That's exactly what he did, and he had to have known that's what he was doing. Look, I think the point is well taken that the president that, especially recently, the president that has appointed the Supreme Court justice, that sheds a lot of light on how that justice might rule. But Chief Justice John Roberts is also very concerned about the reputation of the judiciary and protecting that and ensuring that Americans have faith in the judiciary. And I think his comment was aimed more to speak to that. To sort of rebuff Trump's attempt to politicize the courts and remind people that these are hardworking people trying to consider the rule of law. They may not always come to the same decision, but it's important. You don't really see John Roberts stepping into the political sphere like ever. So it was really a remarkable moment, and I think he could expect that the president would clap back at him the way that he did, but he thought it was important enough to do anyway.
Allan, to dig a little deeper here, there's an op-ed in the Washington Post that says that Chief Justice Roberts is wrong. It suggests that even Supreme Court justices recognize that presidents appoint successors who share their judicial philosophy. What do you make of Chief Justice Roberts' claim?
Well, look, on the surface, the judiciary is supposed to be independent of any political will, really what Roberts is saying. But the truth is, I mean, and as some of the other panelists have noted, look, these judges are appointed by presidents with staunch political beliefs, and usually they're picking people who they believe are going to share their philosophy on the judiciary. So you usually see a lot of these justices voting in the way that you would expect someone with a political ideology to vote on a lot of these issues. And it's plain as day for many Americans to see that, you know, politics does enter the court to an extent. I mean, it is nice to think that the judiciary can be completely independent of any political ideology, but that's just tough to impose on any human being in general.
Can I make one more point, though, that I think is really important? With respect to, it's not just that the Ninth Circuit is not the most overturned. Most circuit courts are overturned more than half the time. The Supreme Court takes up these cases usually to overturn them. And in cases with this president, he has railed against when the courts have ruled against him, but some judges that he has appointed has ruled against him in cases like the Sanctuary City case. Neil Gorsuch has ruled against him in an immigration case. You have Bush appointees that have ruled against him. A Trump appointee ruled against him in the CNN First Amendment case. So this idea that there are these liberal justices who exist just to thwart Donald Trump, it's just wrong. I mean, we have a judiciary that is functioning, and yes, there are people who are appointed and they have a certain ideology, but the idea that there is this liberal faction out west who aims to stop the Trump administration is just patently wrong.
And Vinu, do you have a similar read on that?
Well, I think when he speaks about the Ninth Circuit, what's really interesting is that, you know, as a criminal practitioner, we often look to the Ninth Circuit because it's more friendly to criminal defendants. What Kimberly just said is important. He's lost cases all over the country, 40 to 50 major decisions. And this is the same president who criticized the Judge Curiel, calling him the Mexican judge who would be opposed to him from the beginning. So all this is really Trump's attack on the judiciary. And I think Roberts' counter is that he wants to have a legacy that'll last long, you know, beyond him, and hopes to preserve the integrity of the court.
All right, we will leave the discussion there. Kimberly Atkins, Allan Smith, Vinu Varghese, thank you all.